Hey there, it's Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates coming to you on the afternoon of August 12th, 2022. We'll take our daily look at the pattern ahead. We'll talk a little bit about the Patreon again as well. So we'll start there with the Patreon as kind of a preview of my page that's on there. So we've got the membership tiers that are down here: bronze, silver, and gold. Again, I may add a tier to it. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see where this goes so far. So if you're enjoying what you're getting and you're not already a monthly subscriber, um, by all means, please come to the Patreon. Check out these free videos. They'll be free through Monday, and then they'll become pay only. That'll be on here. Again, social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You'll continue to get free 7 day forecasts, probably with less detail, but you'll still get the 7 day forecasts, and you'll still get extreme weather updates as well. You just won't be getting uh, the updates on the smaller rain events, or just when regular storms are coming through, things like that. That kind of stuff's going to come here to the Patreon page. So, and if you're a monthly subscriber through madcoweather.com, or you've made donations through Venmo or any of that, um, if you can move over to this. If you prefer to continue to do it through the other page, I'll create an email list, and then I will make sure that I get this content to you through the email instead. So I want however you can financially support this page. I want to make it as easy as possible. Um, Again, through Patreon is going to be the best, but any of the means will remain open for you to do it. Again, through the website or the Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, PayPal. You all the I think there were 5 different ways that they'll all remain open. So, and again, if you can't afford to do this, again, you'll continue to get the free content that on the social media pages. So, with all that said, let's dig into what we've got going on. We'll start off here. We're having a beautiful day today. Temperatures right now are in the mid 70s. We're probably going to, creep into the upper 70s by late afternoon. Maybe some of us, especially southern Madison County, might touch 80 degrees. Humidity is really low. Very pleasant day out. Kind of a little preview of maybe like mid September like weather. So very pleasant out there. We're going to take a look here. This is the NAM 3K model. And again, the models have been struggling with all of these precipitation events, but the NAM 3K is doing okay with it. And so we're just going to take a look at it. Again, I don't forecast by the models, so do not take this verbatim. This is just to kind of give you a visual idea of what we might be looking at. So, as we go through the evening and into the overnight, not a whole lot going on. Most of the activity was up north. As we get into tomorrow morning, the NAM 3K kind of shows a little bit of light precipitation dropping through. I really don't think that's going to happen. I think there you may have the radar returns there, but a lot of this is probably going to evaporate before it reaches the ground because the air close to the surface is still going to be so dry. We go on through into the early afternoon with the NAM 3K, and again, here we are into the evening. It's got some of these little pop-ups, and again, these probably won't reach the ground, but I can't guarantee they won't. But what they will be doing is beginning to saturate the atmosphere a little bit. But I've been talking about that. I've not been real convinced that Sunday was going to be this widespread event, and so the NAM 3K is kind of beginning to pick up on that. And we'll take a look here as we get into. This is early Sunday morning, about 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and 9. And you can see it kind of blows it through real quick, and it's just patchy stuff. I mean, maybe 50 or 60% coverage, but it's still going to be another one of these events where somebody picks up a half inch or an inch of rain, and somebody 3 or 4 miles away gets nothing. So kind of like what happened to us, with the last little cell that dropped through and really unloaded on southwestern Anderson and that kind of path between Lapel and Pendleton. Just there was kind of that triangle that just got unloaded on. And meanwhile, in north side of Anderson, I got 3/100ths of an inch. People out on the east side of Anderson got maybe some sprinkles. So it's that kind of pattern, and it's going to continue to be that kind of pattern. I don't make the weather. Nobody makes the weather. All we can do is kind of give you an idea of what's possible, and so you can see by this even simulated, this model image, it's just very patchy, hit and miss. No guarantee of any particular location getting any rain at all. It's just we just have to see what nature. Sometimes they'll find a little piece of energy up there, a little extra, and it'll blow up into something that's major. That's possible too. While the dynamics don't seem great, there'll be enough precipitable water around that if it can find a way to tap into something, it could unload a lot of rain in some localized places. So it's just going to be one of those kind of nowcast things. We're just going to be watching, seeing what happens. But that's kind of just a visual look. Again, we'll just take a look as it drops through from very early Sunday into the late morning, and then it should mostly be out of here, by late morning. This again is showing some little patchy things Sunday evening, possible, but I'm really thinking by then clouds might even be thinning out. So that's kind of our look at the weekend and our next best precipitation chance. I do want to talk. Well, we'll just move on. Let's take a look here at nationally, kind of what we've got working. And again, you can see this big, high pressure that's just parked out here over the southern plains, and everything's just kind of circulating around it. You can see these clusters up here coming through. This is water vapor. This is not cloud imagery, but the translation's pretty good regardless. But I like the water vapor because it gives you a better look at how the atmosphere is moving. And during the summertime, I generally use the mid-level just because I think it's a good, the ground level, the lower level water vapor tends to be super cluttered. The upper level water vapor tends to not have very much in it at all. I like the mid level. It shows me a lot more, especially in the summer. So you can see like this cluster of moisture right here kind of dropping in, and you can see it just kind of fanning out as it's approaching this dry air. The yellows are dry air, and the blues and whites are more saturated. So you can see as this drops into this drier air, it begins to just kind of fall apart, and that's why I think any precipitation that tries to come through tomorrow morning and maybe even into tomorrow afternoon may have some radar returns, but probably won't reach the ground. Can't guarantee that, but probably won't reach the ground. You can kind of see also, if you watch the back edge of this, this is where the core of the heat is. It's kind of retrograding and moving a little bit to the west. That keeps us on this cooler side of it. So during the course of this week, as long as high pressure doesn't decide to migrate east, a couple or 300 miles, we should be pretty close to average or maybe slightly cooler than average. Our highest, most of next week should be right around 80 to maybe 82, 83. By the end of next week, I continue to think we're going to see the mid 80s return next weekend. A lot of data still does not have that, but I still think that's going to be the case, and that's what I'm going to indicate in my forecast. You'll see here in a minute. But I do think we'll be getting back to the mid 80s by next weekend, and but it won't last very long, and then we'll have another kind of lobe of cooler air drop in from the our north. It's kind of again all going around this high pressure system here. Taking a look at the hemispheric water vapor loop just so we can see the Bering Sea again, because again it's been a pretty good indicator, especially right now while atmospheric momentum is slow and while there's not a Greenland block or any other real dominant other feature going on. It's been a very good indicator. When we start to get into farther into the fall and we begin to deal with the Greenland block more and the Madden-Julian oscillation gets a little more active, then this may become a little less reliable. But right now it's doing really well, for the forecast. So again, Indiana kind of translates right in here, and it's just kind of a zonal flow, into the early part of September. So I think we're kind of warm early September, and Again, average high right as we begin September is 81, and we're probably going to be around that, maybe a little bit warmer that first few days, and then we're probably going to cool down. We can kind of see the next little cool shot building up here, and I may drop through. And I think at this point that a lot of September is going to be cooler than average. And again, like I showed you yesterday, September cools down by 12 degrees from the 1st to the 30th. So cooler than average is going to mean a lot more the later we get into the month. Early month, a little bit cooler than average, still upper 70s. By the end of the month, a little cooler than average is upper 60s. So it will make a difference. So I also wanted to show you one last thing here before I get off of here. Yesterday I was showing you the GFS. This is from weathermodels.com. Let me go to the GFS. I was showing you this temperature graph yesterday of how the GFS was really indicating us pushing into the 90s around the 23rd, 24th, 25th. And I told you I thought that was overdone. I really thought we'd be more like in the mid 80s. And I want to show you why I don't forecast by the models. This was the 12Z run yesterday. 12Z today has not loaded yet, but here was the 6Z today. And look at that same period. And now it has the 23rd, 24th, 25th in the mid 70s. That's why I don't forecast by models. They're helpful tools, and especially using these temperature graphs, they're begging for forecast failure. So that's why I avoid them. But it is kind of an easy tool to show you the huge differences that a model can have from one day to the next, and why it's just such a gamble to forecast by them. So with all that said, let's take a look here at the 7-day forecast. Tonight, most of us should be in the lower 50s. Again, with dry air in place, I really would not be surprised if some of the outlying and more northern parts of the, or maybe northeastern parts of the county and area, I wouldn't be surprised to see some 40s, upper 40s in east central Indiana. It just would not surprise me, and something that could leak into Madison County. So I wouldn't be stunned by that. I think most of us will be in the lower 50s. In the morning it's going to be pretty refreshing. Tomorrow, I left my high. If you ever notice on my forecast, I pretty much, when I reset my forecast each day, I just move everything to the left and very rarely make changes to the highs and lows and all that unless I see something that really shows me that I'm off. So I've left the high at 78 for tomorrow. As I noted yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if, like today, with dry air in place, if we maybe didn't touch 80 degrees, tomorrow. So 78, whether 78 or 80, it's going to be a nice day tomorrow. Again, we watch early Sunday for the potential for some rain and storms. And I do think that by the afternoon, the clouds are going to begin to decrease. We'll begin to see maybe a little bit of filtered sunshine, and we can again, hit or top 80 degrees. And then you can kind of see just temperatures float just a little bit either side of 80 degrees most of the week. Again, a little bit of variability in that could be possible. If that high pressure out over the plains decides to flex eastward a little bit, we'll get warmer. If it flexes westward a little bit, we could be a touch cooler. I'm kind of splitting the difference with this. And again, most model data is not at 84 degrees next Friday. I really think we're going to be, by that point, getting back into the mid 80s probably for next weekend. And then we'll see how it looks beyond that. But I think next weekend, next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're probably going to be within a couple of degrees either side of 85. So with all that said, again, please go over to the Patreon, become a patron there, support this page, or do it through one of the other methods that I've already had available for the last year or two. And please support this page. And I'm very thankful for those of you who have become, I think we're at 12 patrons now. And so hopefully that will continue to increase. And hopefully some of you will take advantage of seeing all this free content for now and decide that you want to join as well. So with all that said, this is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Thank you all so much, and have a great weekend.